Part 14. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 131. The Wen family had a small courtyard in Beijing in the early years. The current one was replaced 3 years ago. With the help of Songshang's connections, the location was good, but the area was not as big as the one in my hometown. In Beijing, it is not easy to have a house like this. Wen Qian took a leave of absence, but he was still very happy. It was not easy for his mother to bring him up, and he had not received his filial piety for many years. From now on, she can enjoy her long life and be blessed by her son. Beside him sat Yuan Shi, Wen Huan, and his 2 sons. Compared with her husband's smile, Yuan was slightly troubled. The old lady had a strong personality, was tough in her methods, and was sometimes very unscrupulous. Wen Yu's matter was all agreed upon, but it was done like this. In addition, the Wu family, I'm afraid they will also compete with themselves. Ever since I got married to my husband, I have been outside and used to being the master of the house. As I get older, I have a mother-in-law and a sister-in-law. Let alone Wen Yu, it was the heaviest burden in her heart. These days, she inquired about it and even passed by Qi's house in her car. The boss is the boss, the emperor trusts me, and my family is rich. The 5th young master didn't inquire about anything. I heard he was never at home. She looked at her daughter. Wen Huan wore a beige cloak with a white fur collar and a floral pattern that was newly popular among noble ladies in the capital. She wore a small lilac jacket skirt underneath and a simple agate beaded flower in her hair. It could be said that she didn't dress up very deliberately. But with her pink face and bright eyes and white teeth, she looks like a lady at home. Faced with Grandma and Wen Yu who are about to enter the house, it is good to be reserved and low-key. Suddenly I felt sorry for her. If Wen Yu really married into the Qi family, it would be difficult for Wen Huan to compare with her. I was in a state of confusion when someone came in from outside and announced, "The Wen family's motorcade has arrived." "Here we come," Wen Qian was the first to greet him. "Mother," he strode down the steps and shouted to the first car. Hearing her son's excited voice, the old lady felt at ease and got out of the car with a smile. Wen Qian hurriedly stepped forward to help. "Mom, you have worked hard all the way, are you exhausted?" "Fortunately, I didn't go in a hurry, the journey was smooth." "Is it cold?" "It's not cold, how are you?" The old lady's voice was also full of concern. "My son is very good." Yuan came up with her children. "Mother." "Grandma." Mrs. Wen nodded with a smile. "Hey, I've grown taller." Okay. Let's go in and talk." When you also got out of the car, big girl, someone shouted from the other side. Steward Li has already brought people waiting nearby, and Master Qing is also there, wearing a blue cotton cloak and a veil. Master Qing arrived in the capital 2 months earlier than Wen Yu. Wen Qian was arranging things with Wen Fen when he suddenly saw several people here answering Wen Yu. Wen Qian was still stunned, but Wen Yu took the initiative and said, "Father." Brother Feng's daughter-in-law, Li Shi and Wen Huan, helped the old lady enter the door. Yuan Shi walked in with him and looked back at Wen Yu. Wen Yu was wearing a dark purple mink fur. The sweater was even and soft in texture, with a luxurious luster. Yuan didn't have it, but it's not that he was ignorant, just such a thing is rarely seen in the capital, so the price must be reasonable. "She used all the property I returned to buy clothes. I feel really suffocated. Will my father's appointment go smoothly? Will he be in good health?" When you walked through the scene. Wen Qian nodded gently. "Everything is fine, these are." When you said, "Father, my daughter has something that she wants to tell her father." "What can't we talk about in the house?" Wen Qian was unhappy. "It's okay to go in, but my daughter has to make arrangements first before she can go in." Wen Qian was speechless, but it was amazing that no one was as busy as her. Say it. Make it simple. When you still smiled, something happened to the Lu family. Aunt Lu and Lu Lanfang died. My daughter recognized Lu Lanzhou as her adopted brother and took him over to raise her. This time, she will also take him with her. We're in the capital. She pointed to a car behind her. What did you say? Wen Qian didn't understand. Uncle Lu Huan was once a classmate with my father. My father should remember it. My daughter and Lanfang have been friends since childhood. In response to Lanfang's request before her death, she recognized Lanzhou as her adoptive brother. I will talk to my father about the specific details later. My daughter will be sent in advance. I have already arranged a place to stay in Beijing, and now I want to take Lanzhou away to settle in. My daughter thought that she would like to tell you. Nonsense, Wen Qian growled angrily in a low voice. You. Father, my grandmother also knows about this. Oh, since you are so capable, what else do you need to say to me? When you smiled, not in a hurry or afraid. You are my father. My daughter has to do something before she enters the house. I don't want to report it to you. Wen Qian's face was gloomy, which was unexpected again. Father, the daughter is going over first. When you said to Wen Qian with a smile, turned around and left. Wen Qian stood there angry. How could he look like a woman in a boudoir? Master Cheng. Is everything going well for you, girl? Everything is fine. How is Master Cheng doing here? For many years, Master Cheng has been living the most comfortable life during this period, and he can see that his complexion has improved a lot. Your yard has been bought, and we, the embroiderers and apprentices, have all moved in. In addition, we have rented a small yard nearby for Li Jiang and others to live in, so that you can use it at any time. This is good. Lanzhou and Zuzhu are both tired. Take them back. Remember, you need to find a doctor first. Yes. When you came to the car and said, Lanzhou, take Ping'anan and go with your sister Zuzhu and Master Cheng. When you get home, have a good rest. After my sister has settled down, she will come to see you. There is no sound in the car. When you nodded, please, Master Cheng, don't forget to prepare some food for the little turtle. Let Lanzhou sleep more. If anything happens, come and call me. Zuzhu, you go home with Master Cheng first, and I'll call you later. Go see you. Okay. Yanzu finally got sick from the disease and was a little weak. Look at her well-organized arrangements here. Wen Qian went over and pointed there and asked Wen Feng, what's going on with her? Wen Feng snorted, brother, you are such a big girl. Lu Ting's wife bullied the Lu family siblings, so the girl poisoned her to death, and then the girl committed suicide. When you actually ran to Lu Ting, the family made a big fuss, and Lu Ting signed something and snatched the little fool away, saying that he had adopted a adopted brother. Oh, brother, you have a godson. What the is this? Let's talk about it later, let me see where we live first. Wen Feng was in high spirits. Wen Qian felt like his head hurt. The important things of the Wen family have been transported to the capital one after another. This time they are just fine items for personal use. The old lady entered the courtyard and was supported by Mrs. Li and Wen Huan as she walked and watched. Yuanqi introduced softly from the side. The capital is not as good as my hometown. Although our yard is not big, it is already very good. Your house is behind the main living room. It only has a corridor, which is sealed and protected from the cold and wet. In this way, you can spend time in the living room every day. Nor will. The old lady walked slowly, looking left and right, sighing to herself, it is not easy to live in the capital. This courtyard is no better than the pavilions, and four-season garden in her hometown, but the price can be doubled. A few girls live over there, and they have all been newly renovated. In fact, she didn't prepare a yard for Wenyu at first. Wenyu is now staying in a guest room. Knowing that Wenyu was coming, he asked Wen Huan to tidy up again. Unexpectedly, Wen Huan turned out to be very serious and the decoration was elegant. It seems that she listened to everything he taught. "Mother, do you want to go and have a look?" Mrs. Wu said, "Sister-in-law, mother is very tired from this journey. Why don't you sit at the back first? Drink some hot tea to relieve fatigue." Yuan's face turned red. "I was confused, so I went for a massage early in the morning. I'm not clear about what I wrote, I'm sorry. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart." Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 132. Chapter 132 Be cautious. Yuan, she blushed, "Look at me. My mother is here, my wife is happy, she introduces you to you, but she forgets about the journey. Mother, let's sit in the back hall. Hot tea for drinking and hot water for washing are all ready. There is also a fire in the room. If it feels too cold, add more fire. It's dry here, so drink more water." Wu has become much more stable recently. Seeing Yuan's unhurried look, she feels more cautious. It is not easy to decentralize power from this person. Most likely you have to count on the old lady. Wen Jiao was looking at Wen Huan carefully, feeling that she had changed a lot in the past 6 months. "When I stay with my grandmother, I show genuine affection. I just smiled very gently at myself. It's not like I used to be a bit arrogant. Coupled with this outfit, it is generous and not deliberate. It's really different from what it was back home. It seems like I can't compare, so I'm very angry." So she raised a smile and said, "Second sister, this cloak is very beautiful. Is it new?" Wen Huan was still a little girl after all, so she nodded. "The style just came from Princess Zhenjiang's mansion. It's so beautiful. Hey, have you seen the sable cloak that the eldest sister is wearing?" Wen Huan's eyes narrowed. "I was only looking at my grandmother just now, and I haven't looked at my eldest sister yet. I don't know what she is wearing. Take a closer look later." My mother said she understands that that cloak costs tens of thousands of taels of silver. Wen Jiao spoke with great joy. "Sister, you really dare to spend money." Grandma was stunned when she saw it. "Humph, such good leather, Grandma has never been naked in her whole life, and she wears it in such a fashion." Wen Huan knew that Wen Jiao had bad intentions, but he couldn't help but be influenced by her. "The eldest sister has changed a lot. I can't stand it, but I don't dare to provoke her. Second sister, you have to complain to the uncle. Let the uncle fix her. Grandma doesn't care." "Oh, you didn't know that she had arranged a marriage, right? It's too late for Grandma to take notice of her." Wen Jiao had a sour look on her face. Wen Huan's face couldn't hold it any longer. Wen Jiao smiled secretly. "The crown prince of King Wu is the prince of Yongqing County. He also arrived at Prince Wu's mansion in the capital. The king of Wu and his wife arrived earlier than him. In a few days, it will be the emperor's birthday, and then in the new year, the prince of Yongqing County will get married." The princess had only one son, so she was filled with joy when she saw him. Asking for help. "In 2 days, I will arrange for you to meet Miss He." To be honest, the girl is indeed average looking, but apart from this, there is nothing wrong with her. With your status, you must first choose a wife based on her background and ability. Looks. From now on. What kind of thing? So, you have to be obedient and don't show shame to other girls. Mother, you have said this hundreds of times. Haha, one more thing, listen carefully, the people following you must be those you can trust. When you go out, you have all the guards. Don't run around for nothing. Especially in Fangxi, there are still this is not our territory, so be careful. My mother-in-law is not joking with you, the princess is very serious. It's the mother-in-law. My son remembers it. How is the situation in the palace? He asked softly. Your father said that the emperor is in good health. In the harem, everyone is like a man, but nothing can be seen on the surface. Where are my grandfather and uncles? He mentioned his parents' family so quickly, and the princess was happy. They are all fine. I'll see you when you get some rest. The son visits his grandfather by himself. Good. Mother, my son remembered something. Did you mention Miss Wen during the Tianlong Temple Dharma ceremony? Ah, the princess was stunned for a moment before she remembered. Oh, if you didn't tell me, I would have forgotten. I wanted you to meet me at the time, but something happened later and I didn't care. Why did you ask? Start this. Mother, the Wen family has gone to Beijing. Oh. My son saw it at the pier. There were two girls at that time. I don't know which one the concubine was referring to. She looks very good. Haha, are all good. It would be even better if you can stay. That's it, mother-in-law, can you take the time to inquire more? Good. Seeing her son go out, Princess Wu felt a little heavy. What happened to Yang Rishi? Although her husband didn't show it to the public, I really don't know if he was in trouble or not. Even though I have only one son, my husband has several sons and even grandchildren. Have to be careful. In the evening, the old lady went to rest, and brothers Wen Qian and Wen Feng ate, drank, and chatted for a while. Wen Qian was most worried about Wen Yu, so he asked casually. As a result, Wen Feng sighed with emotion, "Brother, you don't know. This girl Wen Yu almost entered Prince Wu's mansion." What? Wen Feng told the story about Tianlong Temple. Princess Wu must have meant it. Otherwise, in a family like ours, can the princess come up and talk? Then Chen Yuan's post was sent to our house. Moreover, the princess specially asked the female official to come to see the mother and the girl. What an honor is this! My mother guessed that the queen was interested in the Chinese girl. It was a pity that the banquet was stopped and everyone left after that. Wen Qian listened, his heart pounding. Normally speaking, based on his qualifications and official position, he is not comparable to the royal palace and the meritorious family. The direct grandson of Li Ji's hometown is the direction for the marriage of the Wen family. Even if they can't reach the Li family, most of the scholars from the same family are probably from the squire's family if they are Jinchi. I never thought about being able to get married to the marquis. I didn't expect that if nothing happened, she might enter the palace. I don't know whether she is happy or sad. My thoughts are different from yours. In a royal family, the rules and regulations are not something that a family like ours can understand. With property and official positions, life is easy, that's all. There are too many, I dare not think about it. Brother, let's go to higher places. How many people are born as people? How can we be sure that we won't be able to live in the mansions we pass along the way? Haha, I didn't expect that you have a higher vision than me. Hey. Wen Qian said with some annoyance, one more thing, Wen Yu, don't you see the style today? The crowd is more impressive than Brother Feng. What's going on? Ordinarily she had a few coins in her hand. It won't lead to such a pomp. Have you spent all this? I felt uneasy for a while. Wen Feng nodded, this girl is indeed. Brother, have you seen the fifth son of the Qi family? No, after asking around a little, I found that I haven't met many people, and they haven't become official yet. Oh my God, you didn't see it, let me tell you, that girl is even prettier than Wen Yu. Really? Wen Qian was shocked. I lied to you that you are a puppy. Many people were stunned. But, why, he thought that Mr. Qi Wu was attracted by Wen Yu's appearance, so he married lowly. Hey, that girl's life is good. Wen Qian didn't know what to think. That girl is indeed capable. I heard from Mrs. Wu that she gave you as a dowry, and she sold it and transferred it. It was nothing. She rented a small yard, bought a few girls, and hired an embroiderer. Mom, Master, I'm teaching them. It seems that we are going to open an embroidery shop, and Song Shang, hey, do you know about Song Shang? What's up? Has he reconciled with Webster? Huh, I don't know. Hey, that kid, he's so awesome, he doesn't even pee in the Wei family. What are you talking about? My mother said that he is coming to the capital, so he should bring his mother with him. Moreover, Song Shang is very kind to Wen Yu, and he seems to have helped a lot. I don't know what happened specifically. Why are there so many things going on during this period? Isn't it? It's all a good thing. Didn't the Chi family come to the door? No. I guess we'll get in touch with my mother and Yu Yetu when they come. Oh, brother, why do I feel like our family is going to be prosperous? I've almost found a position for you. You won't be able to be honest and act like you did back home. Be careful. If something goes wrong, no one can support you. I know, Wen Feng promised. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 133. Chapter 133. No solution. In the morning, when you woke up from the house and still felt the coolness of the north. Her yard is not in the same place as the other girls. It must have been specially cleaned up later. Not far away is the side door, which is very convenient for future entry and exit. The room is elegantly decorated, with thick curtains on the doors and windows, paintings on the walls, and blankets on the floor. There are daffodils blooming on the windowsill. It is fully used. And I didn't feel cold at all until bedtime last night. It's just that the space is really not big. Even if Yanzu took away a lot of things, the boxes and cages would almost pile up in front of the bed. Moreover, Xiaoji and Laba have to sleep on beds outside every day. The mother-in-law who sent her in also explained that the capital was no better than her hometown, and the rooms of other girls were basically like this. This gentle word is not picky. It has been less than a year since she got married, and she has a lot to do. I am afraid she will have to run away. As soon as I got up, the mother-in-law came over to bring hot water and explained household affairs to Xiaoji and the others. It was obvious that housekeeper Yuan was also very attentive. This morning we all went to the back hall to have breakfast. Mrs. Wu arrived early in the morning and took her mother-in-law to prepare things inside and outside. The old lady went to bed very early and got up early. She had finished dressing up and was talking to Wen Qian. You don't have to be at home anymore, and don't always take leave. Let's talk again when you come back in the evening. Don't worry, my son has already made arrangements. I will accompany you today after breakfast. Later, my son will accompany you in the car and go shopping. Goodbye, it's been a tough journey for me, you have to have a good rest. Haha, my son will talk to you. The old lady responded. Yuan went to arrange breakfast in person and came into the room. Mother, today's breakfast is from the north. If you are not used to it, you can try it first. The cook you brought with you was afraid that you would not be able to eat well, so she ordered it. Noodle. It's not that important, with so many people here at once, try to keep it as simple as possible. Once everyone is settled, we can adjust it again. Mrs. Li came in with several younger sisters. When the old lady saw that they were all wearing thick cloaks, they had to take them off when entering the house. Plus the girl said, "Oh, we really have to be in this room on weekdays, but I can't fit in my small hall so many people." Yuan smiled and said, "The girls' rooms are not big. They can read, write, and do work here on weekdays. Mother can guide her here when she is happy, and go back to the house when she feels tired. It is very convenient." When the old lady heard it, she thought it was pretty good. At this time, when you came in, greeted everyone, and brought breakfast. Wen Huan glanced at her secretly, not as sharply as the last time they met, but calm and leisurely, not even looking at herself. Where is the second child? The old lady looked around to see if Wenfeng was not there. The following grandchildren are all here. Mom, the second master went out early in the morning and wanted to have breakfast outside, Wu replied, looking at the breakfast carefully. Yuanqi slowly told the old lady about the winter in the capital, where the vegetables were scarce and stale, and fish and shrimps were rare. But, mother, the mutton in the capital is very delicious. It cannot be compared with what we have in our hometown. Eating mutton pot in winter is very warm. After breakfast, the old lady asked everyone to go back and clean up. Only Wen Qian was left to talk to mother and son. Wen Qian talked about his official business. Mrs. Wen listened and comforted her heart. How long have I known you are a capable person? It's not easy to do this. The old lady talked about her family affairs again. Inevitably, we have to talk about Wen Yu. The old lady smiled bitterly and said, did I tell you yesterday? I told you something, mother, I really didn't expect it. I didn't expect that there are many more. Have I told you about Song Shang? As I said, he and Webster reconciled and divorced. Isn't this a bit nonsense? Then Song Shang didn't tell you that he wanted to marry Wen Yu. Ah. There's this thing too, maybe Wenfeng didn't take Song Shang's matter too seriously. When he told his eldest brother yesterday, he actually missed this item. Second brother didn't say anything. Alas, MRSG personally proposed the marriage at Zanquan Villa. I never thought that. I was just thinking about what we had said before and didn't go around the corner for a while, but she actually refused on the spot. The old lady shook her head. She was also so stupid. When MRSG felt that I had insulted her, and she was very unhappy, it was so embarrassing. I would have been unhappy if I left this matter alone. When I got home, Song Shang was waiting at home and told me that he wanted to talk to Webster after the divorce. Of course I refused to marry Wen Yu, but in the end, he directly said that he would give the Wen family a betrothal gift of 200,000 taels. Is this really happening? This bastard, what did he think? Wen Qian simply couldn't describe his feelings. I was moved by what he said, and promised him to figure it out. As a result, as soon as he left, Mrs. Zhang came to the door and asked for gentle words for Zhang Cheng. Thinking of the chaos at that time, the old lady also had a headache. I was asked to reject it. Mom, you are so confused, Wen Qian blurted out after hearing this. What are you talking about? Old Mrs. Wen quit. It was the son who made a mistake. But, mother, although you rejected the Qi family, although it was inappropriate, we don't know the details of the Qi family, so it's not too much. But the Zhang family is different. Since Mrs. Zhang is here in person, you must accept it. It's from the Zhang family. TCH, you don't know how important Song Shang is to the Wen family. Not to mention the money, the old lady was not convinced. But what about reputation? What does the Zhang family have to do with us? You shouldn't accept such a good young man as Zhang Zhangqing, but you promise it to Song Shang who has not yet reconciled. Then do we still need the reputation of the Wen family? The old lady blushed a little when she said this. I was thinking, I would have to leave there anyway. But this is our hometown after all. Besides, Magistrate Zhang is obviously being suppressed. What if he changes his position one day? How can you do this after maintaining a good relationship for so many years? Come on, the old lady didn't want to be blamed by her son. Don't mention it after it has passed. Later, for some reason, your father found out about Xiner and came back to make a fuss. He made the decision and gave Wen Yu to Qi. I don't know what the Qi family is doing. It is said that his princess is worthy of it. Even if Wen Yu is better looking, you still don't know what Mr. Qi looks like. Is it really beautiful? Wen Qian asked. Haha, your mother and I have never seen such a handsome man in my life. Is there something going on here? Wen Qian started to speculate on conspiracy. There must be something. But what, I don't know. I also went to the Qi family's Anquan villa, which is a big deal. There is a lot of property in my hometown alone. Not to mention the power in the capital. Then, what should we do? What else can I do? There is no other way. Alas. This when you really have an idea. Ordinarily, my mother is not at the mercy of others, but here, for some reason, she ended up in this situation. It turned out that she just didn't want to worry about and she could do whatever she wanted. But I didn't expect that if I tried to put it away again, it would break my muscles and bones. Wen Qian remained silent. If someone else had this kind of family, how happy would they be to heaven? But MRSG proposed it in person, and I actually refused. Ha 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 ha. The old lady smiled bitterly. If it were her, I would have thought, how could this person do it? Why don't you keep your face? Mother, Wen Qian felt a little embarrassed. Let's just leave it like that. This girl, you know she brought Lu Lanzhou here, right? Haha, not only did he get it, but he also robbed his uncle of a lot of money. When you even showed off her sisterhood with Lan Fang to me. It seemed like she was insinuating that her family was heartless. She was really angry. Mother, it's your son who makes it difficult for you, Wen Qian whispered. Well, I hope nothing else happens. Mom, did you clean up the things you did back then? He asked a little uneasily. You still can't believe what my mother is doing, old MRS Wen was unhappy. My son believes it, it's just that we have to be more careful now when Yu's temperament and performance are sharp, if something goes wrong. Don't worry. I'm fine here. Where are you, Yuanji, Humph? My son. When I mention this matter, you don't want to hear it? But you didn't expect it, right? The wrong thing you did so many years ago is happening again. It's here. Furthermore, you can obviously take advantage of the situation to climb higher, but now you are worried about whether you will reach a cliff when you step out. It is too late for other families to fight for this marriage, but your mother and I are told to give up. How much have you done for Yuan Zijun in your life? Mom is old now, so she has to follow. Wen Qian cannot argue with these words. The two of them were in a daze when a girl outside said, Miss, the old lady and the old man are talking in the house. I have something to tell my grandmother and father. Then you wait for me to go back later. The old lady and Wen Qian looked at each other and said, let her in. Wen Yu came in with a smile, and the girl at the back was holding two things. Look, Grandma, my granddaughter has prepared a thin silk blanket for you. You can wrap it around your body or cover your legs. Look, it's light and warm. It's cold in the capital, so you can use it at any time. She shook her head. The bright and colorful blanket was placed on the old lady's body, and she suddenly felt warm. Then, this is for my father, it's the same thing, but the color is heavier. You can put it on when it's cold. After all, I'm getting older now, so I need to start taking care of it. They were all handed to him. Wen Qian took them and felt the warmth in his hands. It was quite light. Old MRS Wen was annoyed. This thing is not cheap. Save your money. Look at your mink. Hey, this is not the one from yesterday. When you took it off as soon as he entered the door and put it on the chair next to him. Haha, my granddaughter bought quite a few things, but the ones she bought are suitable and not expensive. Wen Qian wanted to teach him a lesson, but he was short-handed. Moreover, if he interfered with her property, would it make her doubt that she was still thinking about him? Grandma, father, you Erli, I have something to say. Old MRS Wen looked at her son and smiled. Okay. Here we go again. End of this chapter. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 134. Chapter 134 Handy. Today, Qi Yuyi returned to the capital with his eldest son Qi Xiao. This time, he went out for more than a month to suppress bandits and captured a man who claimed to be the reincarnation of King Toda. The bandits were suppressed very smoothly, but the King of Heaven spent a lot of effort. Because there are quite a few people who believe in him, and even some aristocratic families have joined in. There was no shortage of people or money, and many charity halls were set up. When people were taken away, the people came to stop them. He didn't expect it in advance, but they were surrounded and made him very embarrassed. When he returned to Beijing, he didn't even return home. He went directly to the palace and handed in the battle report. Then I walked in the door in a dusty state and found out that my wife was not at home and my mother was sick. He quickly took Qi Xiao into the backyard. Mrs. Tan, the old lady of the Qi family, was sitting in the room with a forehead wipe on her head and a very bad look on her face. It's just that the softness remains the same. If when you sees it, he may be surprised that Tan is so young. Furthermore, even though she was in a bad mood and in poor health today, she was still meticulously dressed from head to toe. Speaking of appearance, in fact, she is not that beautiful, and she does not even have the charm of a lady. Her good looks are a general thing. There are no wrinkles or collapse on the face. The eyes are clear and gentle, and the corners of the mouth are smiling. There is a detached open-mindedness and peace in his demeanor, and even a hint of liveliness. There was a rumor in the capital that Qi Zheng's wife was grateful to Mr. Tan for saving her husband and recognized her as her goddaughter. She stayed in the mansion and ate, drank, and dressed like the lady in the mansion. She was also prepared to find a good family for her. But Ms. Tan said that after accompanying her sister to give birth to a child, it would not be too late for her to get married again. In the later stages of Mrs.'s pregnancy and after she gave birth to the child, Mrs. Tan was indeed better at taking care of her than the other maids around her. As the saying goes, you can taste the medicine and food yourself without taking off your clothes. Mrs. had an abnormal fetal position when she gave birth to Qi Zheng, and she did not recover well later. When Qi Xiao was less than 1 year old, Mrs. eventually passed away due to heart disease due to physical weakness. Before leaving, Mrs. begged her husband to remarry Sister Tan. Qi Zheng obeys his wife's wishes and really plans to remarry her. At that time, there were many people who opposed it, including Qi Zheng's parents and Mrs.'s natal Zhao family. Because of the Tan family, she is almost considered a woman of unknown origin. She has no home, no job, and no one knows her past. But Qi Zheng was very persistent and finally got married. For a long time, the Tan family was not tolerated by this class and encountered many embarrassing things. But she has a low profile and is honest, and can face anything she encounters calmly. In so many years, no one has seen her change her face, or say that she is not her fault. Moreover, on the premise that she also gave birth to a son, she also raised Qi Yuyi to be tall, heroic, and capable of both literary and military skills. Finally earned a good name for himself. Now in the capital, she is also a very famous philanthropic old lady. My popularity at home and outside is good. Seeing the arrival of their father and son, Mrs. Tan's face immediately put on a smile, and her voice was filled with surprise. Boss, Xiao isn't the genius coming back tomorrow? Qi Yuyi and Qi Xiao, both quite tall, stepped forward and saluted with smiles on their faces. Mother. Grandma. The journey was going smoothly, so I came back a day early. Okay. It'll be fine when you come back. Are you injured? She stretched out her hands to the two people, looking at the father and son up and down with concerned eyes. Don't worry, you're not hurt. But it seems that my incense was not burned in vain. Mrs. Tan was obviously happy. Have you gone to the palace? Been there. Is there any reward from the emperor? Haha, mother, even if there were, it wouldn't be now. Are you making fun of your mother for being ignorant of official business? She looked at Chi Yi angrily. Haha, my son doesn't dare. Has your father got a letter back? I received a letter, saying that everything is going well, and it will take a while before he can come back. I'm worried about his waist. A few days ago, someone sent a medical pack for bathing. I also prepared it for you and your father, but prevention can be cured. It's too hard for you to fight outside. You must take good care of yourself on weekdays. Don't be lazy. Thank you, mother. My son is also worried about his father. If the emperor has no other assignment, he wants to take over his father's job. Son. MS-10 was heartbroken, but the smile on her face remained unchanged. You have worked hard for more than a year, so take a good rest first. And Xiao. The old lady looked at Qi Xiao and pointed at him. Look, what a fair person. Now he is like a black charcoal, he has to be raised. Qi Xiao said, Grandma, my grandson is a military commander, not a pretty boy. TCH, you're not stupid. How can your wife like you? You're gone for such a long time and you don't want to be with your wife. Grandma and grandson all laughed, and the atmosphere was great. Qi Xiao's face turned red, he really missed her. Mother, come back and listen to the message on the door that you are not feeling well. Qi Yi was really concerned. Mrs-10 glared at the people around her. Don't listen to their nonsense. I'm fine. I'm fine. The girl next to me said, Old madam, you don't have to hold on. If you have something on your mind, just tell him when he comes back. Yes, mother, what's wrong with you? Can you please call a doctor? I told you it's okay, they're the ones making the fuss. Besides, even if there's something wrong, everything will be fine as soon as I see you two. She looked at Qi Yi and Qi Xiao with pride and love in her eyes. Qi Yi and his son were very moved. My son is back. If you are unhappy, you have to tell me. Otherwise, how can your son be relieved? Tan's eyes were shining, but the circles under his eyes seemed wet. It's really okay. Mother. He asked the girl next to him, tell me. What's wrong with mother? Why does it look like she's crying? Mrs-10 quickly winked at the girl. But the girl said, Sir, last time you left, my wife went around talking about building a grave for my hometown. This is my filial piety, but for some reason, gossip about you started to spread outside. You are not filial and don't care about your biological mother. It seems that you are taught by our old lady. Who dares to bear such a reputation? The old lady became anxious and angry and fell ill. But the madam didn't care and left directly with the fourth and fifth masters. Just came back a few days ago. When I came back, I didn't even go to see the old lady to say hello. I only showed up once, just to inform the old lady that she had arranged the marriage of the fourth master and the fifth master locally. There was a hint of sadness in Tan's expression. Qi Yi was stunned. In fact, to be honest, he was not concerned about the marriage between Silang and Wulang. Especially Wulang. Although he is his legitimate son, he can count the number of times he has met between father and son. Moreover, his true thoughts in his heart are not known. Qi Xiao has been with him the longest, and he also accompanies him when he goes on official business. It can be said that he is his greatest support. Even this time we got out of trouble safely, it was the son who led people to solve it. But what he loves most in his heart is Qi Hua, the second son Qiu Yun gave birth to. Qi Hua's marriage was something he had worked hard to obtain. Sanlang is taken care of by his father and third brother. He didn't even pay attention to Shiro. He has no intention of intervening in Wulang's marriage and future. Kui can decide whatever he likes. Looking at my mother's appearance, I'm afraid it's not that simple, so her face is hard to look at. Qi Xiao next to him is several years older than his younger brother, and he has not yet been married to Qi Hua. Especially the fifth brother has been good looking since he was a child. His mother kissed him especially when he was a child and dressed him up all day long, making him look like a girl from a boy. He looked particularly unpleasant. Originally I wanted to use the eldest brother's momentum to suppress him and let him know how powerful he is. As a result, he didn't like himself. What? I was so angry that I beat him many times. My mother was angry with herself because of this, so she hated him even more. Later, his mother sent him out to school, and the two of them had fewer opportunities to meet. If you make grandma angry, wait, you have to deal with him. Grandma. There was a cheerful and clear voice at the door. Tan's emotions calmed down appropriately. She was very good at doing this. Looking at Chi Xiao with a smile, "Look, who is here," she said in a teasing tone. End of this chapter. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 135. A pretty woman walked in. Purple-red armor inlaid with silver thread, a set of gold phoenix hairpins on her head, a thin gold chain in the phoenix head, and an east pearl hanging from the bottom, dangling on her forehead. Slender eyebrows, raised eyes, and affectionate eyes. There is a thin layer of rouge on the eyelids on her face, which highlights her charm. After saluting, his eyes were fixed on Chi Xiao. Mrs. Tan smiled and said, "It's Ming Hui. Why are you here at this time?" His tone was joking. Chi Yuyi saw it in his eyes, but sighed in his heart. His mother had always been like this, no matter how sad she felt, she always had a smile on her face and never made things difficult for others. It is well known at home and abroad. It's because of Kui's bad temper that she can't get along with her. Chi Xiao also looked sideways at Su Minghui, with a deep smile on his face. "Father, husband, I've been away for more than a year, it's really hard work." Chi Xiao looked at her with a silly smile and did not answer. Mrs. Tan said, "Come on, you two should go back to the house and talk." Minghui, ask carefully if he is injured. Yes. The two of them walked away with affection in their eyes and a slight haste in their steps. Chi Yuyi did not leave, but continued to ask Mrs. Tan, "Mother, my son didn't pay much attention to the marriage of Xiaoxi and Xiaoe. In your opinion, is there something wrong?" Ms. Tan leaned back and found a more comfortable position. "Whether it's right or not, I haven't seen anyone, so it's hard to make a conclusion. But how many ladies in the capital can't be found? There are several princesses and county heads in the boudoir alone. With Xiao's talents, it's hard to find such a lady." "Okay." Her tone was a little excited, and she looked a little regretful after she said it. "Look at me. I decided not to say anything, but as soon as I saw you, I started talking again. My father and third brother are not here. If you have something to say, if you don't tell your son, who should you tell it to?" "Yes. Alas, Xiao's marriage was decided by me at the beginning. Although your wife did not object to it openly, she was always competing with Minghui in private. However, no matter what we say, this matter is indeed my fault. You went over her and interfered in her son's marriage. Your wife is upset, and I understand. But look at this couple." She pointed at Chi Xiao and his wife who had just left. "How good they are. So even if your wife blames me, I will admit it. I have no intention of getting involved in Shiro Wuro's marriage. As a result, your father and third brother were not at home, and you and Dallin were dining and sleeping outside. Erlang often goes out. There are old and young in this family, all women and children. At this time, Ms. Kui insisted on taking Shiro and Wuro home to build a tomb and a house, and in the name of your mother." Mr. Tan's expression was unusually ugly. "Your biological mother, that is the good woman I respect the most in my life. If she hadn't told me many times before she died, she was afraid that your father would suffer if you married your stepmother, so she had to entrust you to me. I would never have done it. Marry your father, let others have their say." Chi Yuyi said quickly, "Mother, don't think too much. Father has always respected you. Although I am not your biological child, you have brought me up. You have no family background, and all the sons who are in trouble understand that it is Kui who is ignorant." Mrs. Tan waved her hand and said, "Listen to what I have to say. It has been my wish to build your mother's grave for a long time. It's just at home. When you go out and come back, there will be no eyesight on the battlefield. The letter came 2 days late, so I will after thinking about it. I'm just afraid that something will happen to you. I've never felt at ease." She patted her chest. "I swear, I've been looking for opportunities." Chi Yuyi hurriedly expressed his position. "My son really understands. My son didn't arrange this well. I don't like hearing what you say. How can I blame you? That daughter-in-law of yours is good at everything. She is just the boss. In the past few years, I have always been thinking that I was the one who made the mistake. I shouldn't have let him. Xiao Yun followed you." "Mother," Chi Yuyi suddenly became excited. "Listen to what I'm telling you." Mrs. Tan pulled Chi Yuyi again. "Ms. Kui is a lady of the family, with an upright character, and is valued by all the queens. You can't be wrong. When I entered the door, I swore to the sky that I didn't feel sorry for her. No matter what she thinks in her heart, she is respectful and polite. I can't find anything wrong with her. As for the rift between our mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, there is nothing else but this one." Tan's eyes were filled with tears and her lips were trembling. Chi Yuyi interrupted hastily, "Mother. Xiao Yun and I grew up together. She is gentle, considerate, and beautiful, and my son has long admired her. If it hadn't been for the Queen's decree, I would definitely marry Xiao Yun. I don't care about my family background. I earned all the credit myself. I don't need a wife to add to it." He was excited and determined. Mrs. Tan looked at him for a long time and sighed, "Well, I just saw that you and Xiao Yun were in love, and they were childhood sweethearts. That girl Xiao Yun was even more. At the beginning, I really didn't have any good ideas. If she hadn't stayed with you, with her temper, she probably won't live long." Chi Yuyi feels very distressed after hearing this. "Mother, these years, my son has had Xiao Yun, and life has become more interesting. From the beginning to the end, my son has wronged her. He has also wronged you." Mrs. Tan nodded. "If you say this, I feel at ease." Her face became colder than usual. "To tell you the truth, if you don't blame me, I won't be afraid. Mrs. Kui, I respect my son and my wife. Son. No matter what, I can't surpass you and Xiao Yun. My selfishness, you two are the only ones who care about me. It's too late for my son to be grateful, so how can he complain? As the saying goes, the mother is kind and the son is filial, and they are happy." Chi Yuyi said calmly, "Don't look at it. Mrs. Kui has already made an engagement to Xiaoxi and Xiaoe. If I, the father, don't recognize her, she has to give up on me." After saying this, his face showed a hint of cruelty. Mrs. Tan actually nodded. "That's right. Mrs. Kui is just too strong, and sometimes she fights blindly just for the sake of her breath. I am not intolerant of people who get angry with me on weekdays. But when the Wen family general arrives in the capital, this time what kind of person is he? How does he fit in with our Wulang? And Shiro?" After he left, Aunt Lu walked around in circles in the house and courtyard, as if she was anxious. "Oh, forget it, don't think about it anymore. Anyway, they have to live their own lives. Don't worry, Mother. I'll be reasonable when I see Ms. Kui," Chi Yuyi said with a gloomy face. "Okay, you are tired when you come back, so go back and rest. Xiao Yun knows you are coming back. Oh, you are restless." Mrs. Tan smiled again. Chi Yuyi also had a hint of tenderness on his face. "Okay, then son, go back and take a look at her first." After he went out, Mrs. Tan smiled coldly. When family, I can't wait to see it done. Otherwise, rely on the talent of Wulang. Even the Lord and the Emperor have to come up with a decent princess. Although he doesn't show up much, everyone who has met him has asked me about him. Just catching anyone is better than the Wen family, right? It is not God who is helping me, it is Mr. Kui who is helping me. Now that's it, let's see what it is. Don't care what it is, if you want to fight me, you're far from it. What a pity. There was a look of regret on Ms. Tan's face, what she planned last time didn't work out. Otherwise, with Kui's temperament, she would not be able to survive. Maybe, Xiaoyun will be straightened out. Have readers commented on their experience of listening to the book and made suggestions? Thanks. I will try my best to correct it. Thank you friends, your appreciation, comments, suggestions, corrections, and various votes and rewards are the driving force for me to move forward. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 136. Qi Yuyi walked to his courtyard, frowning, this Kui family. Never liked her. Now, it's even more annoying. If she hadn't married him, could Xiaoyun be a concubine? He thought angrily. When he walked to the gate of the courtyard, a girl came over to greet her with a smile. When he asked, Ms. Kui hadn't come back yet. When I think of the yard next to me, my heart trembles. As soon as he turned his face, he saw a woman standing over there. A sudden gust of wind blew her cloak. Swaying gently, fluttering like a fairy. He walked over quickly and uncontrollably, as if he was afraid that if he took one step too late, she would be gone with the wind. Seeing him coming, the woman smiled softly and saluted softly, Master. The voice was a bit hard to distinguish between male and female. To be honest, when this woman stood there quietly, she looked like a banished immortal. But when you really talk to her, half of that feeling will disappear. The reason is probably due to lack of foundation. But only this half was enough to make Qi Yuyi excited. Xiaoyun. His voice trembled. Why are you standing here? Watch out for the wind. I know you're back, so I'd like to welcome you. I thought I'd arrive tomorrow. Thinking of you, the whip hurts the horse. Facing her, his love words came out smoothly. Xiaoyun pursed her lips and smiled. The flowerless garden seemed to be overflowing with the fragrance of flowers. Qi Yuyi looked at her blankly. Most people cannot guess her age. Not childish, but definitely not old. A head of black and smooth hair, if spread out, would look like thick ink and hang heavily down to his calves. It would always make Qi Yuyi feel entangled. Two thick long eyebrows, one by one very obvious. Sparse and long eye hair. Those eyes were like a deep pool, like blue waves, or like an ancient well. The young Qi Yuyi fell into it and could never get out again. The person looks cold and cold, which makes his current expression of gentleness and gentleness somewhat inconsistent. However, in Qi Yuyi's eyes, there is nothing displeasing to him. You came back early after finishing your work smoothly, but you made fun of me. Xiaoyun lowered his head and said. I'm not going to lie to you, I brought you something good, let them deliver it later. I hope you come back safely. I have everything. I like it when you dress up nicely. Where are the son and the kitten? The son is Qi Hua. The kitten is their daughter. Qi Xiangbao is 13 years old this year. My son thought you wouldn't come back until tomorrow. He went to the suburbs with someone a few days ago for something, and he said he would come back tonight. Wang's mother has been ill recently, and her father is also away, so she went back to take care of you. Xiao Mao, I know you come back soon. I brought good things to the kitten too. You have given her enough good things. I only have this girl, and I won't give you any amount. The two people walked while talking and entered a small courtyard. It is neat and elegant. When you enter the house, the furnishings are also very gorgeous. Is there nothing going on here? He was always worried that Kui would bully Xiaoyun. Everything is fine. Tell me the truth, Ms. Kui didn't make you angry, did she? Don't worry, Madam has rarely seen me these years. I usually go there in the morning and salute at the gate of the courtyard. The servants don't give me any trouble. This is a good thing. Whose concubine is treated like this? But when Qi Yuyi heard it, he was extremely sad. Xiaoyun, you don't have to be like this. As long as the old lady is here, I can eat and drink well every day. I will be waiting for you to come back in this small yard. It will be very practical. I am out there, and the one I am thinking about the most is you. Do you know about the marriage of the fourth and fifth sons? I heard it. Sir, you don't understand. These days are mainly lived by the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law. What woman doesn't want her son to have the same heart as her? Isn't she willing to marry a daughter-in-law that she likes? It's the marriage of the elder man, and the wife has given birth. It's grand. What's more, our Erlang Dallin and his wife are living a good life. This time outside, Dallin is even buying jewelry. If a grown man can do this, it proves that he has her in his heart. How great! Why wouldn't Mrs. Kui get involved? Sir, Erlang and his wife are doing well. She has been pregnant for 5 months. Okay. Finally, we have good news. These pieces of silver. He took out a box and opened it, which contained several pieces of silver. Take it. It's for you. You should give some to Erlang's daughter-in-law too. Mother-in-laws should be generous with their hands, and only then will the daughter-in-law be filial. I haven't touched the body you gave me, there's no need to give it to me anymore. Take it as you are told. Oh, I just forgot, one of them is for mother. Xiaoyun pursed her lips and smiled after hearing this. My mother doesn't have much dowry, and so do you. Although she has given you some in recent years, she still has no financial resources after all, just save it. I'm following you. What more money do you need? How can you still be hungry and cold? That's definitely not possible, just hearing about it makes me feel so sad. Then I'll take it. They are brothers and sisters who are favored by you and are arrogant. They are just afraid of encountering trouble outside and will suffer a loss. Don't worry, you won't suffer a loss. The second brother is in charge of a lot of properties. When my affairs are settled, I will find him a good job, kitten. He always wanted Kui to put Chi Xiangbao in his name. I mentioned it several times, but the woman ended up pretending to be stupid. What a trouble. If she died, she could write Xiaoyun. My heart skipped a beat. I didn't dare to think about it anymore. Okay. We've been chatting for a long time, and you don't even ask me if I miss you. He gently pulled her into his arms. Look. What he likes most is her expression when she forgets her feelings. So wild, so wanton, as proud as a queen, despising him, making him, an iron-blooded man, feel inescapable joy. Xiaoyun's face turned red. Master. Over there, Qi Xiao and his wife have been messing around in the house twice. The two of them calmed down, packed up, drank tea, calmed down for a while, and then started talking. Qi Xiao talked about what happened during this period, and then gave his wife some silver and the jewelry he bought. It wasn't too much, but Su was very satisfied. Her attitude made Qi Xiao very proud. Then she told her husband about her mother-in-law. The marriage of the fourth and fifth brothers has been decided in my hometown. I don't know why, the tone was very unpleasant. Qi Xiao also had a bad relationship with his mother. Seeing that his daughter-in-law was unhappy, he kept a cold face and said nothing. I originally told my mother that when you come back, I would ask you to accompany me to build a house and build a tomb. Mother actually acted as if she didn't hear anything. She took the fourth and fifth children and left. When we were building the ancestral house and the ancestral graves, I heard that we also had to build roads. How much money do you need to build a bridge? Humph, can mother take me there? Chi Xiao said with a trace of ridicule. You are the eldest son and grandson. Who will you go to if you don't go? There is no one more partial than mother. It's okay to favor the fifth child, you are brothers. But what about the fourth child? The one who is doing the main thing this time is the fourth child. Real. Isn't that right? I found out everything. My mother wrote to my grandfather and asked for the property in my hometown, and all the expenses came from here this time. I made a lot of money. You worked hard outside, it was hard and dangerous, just to get me such a small amount of money. I feel so sorry for you that I can't bear to spend it even if I get it. But as for the fourth child, this time he made a profit with less than 10,000 yuan. But, I obviously took my fifth brother with me. Why didn't my fifth brother take over? I don't know. I don't know what Lao Wu has been doing in the past 2 years. He is often away from home. Originally, I won't hide it from you. Someone took a fancy to him and promised benefits, and I wanted to make it happen. I didn't expect it. Mother actually agreed. I don't know how to reply to them. The couple became extremely angry when they thought about the injustice their mother had done to them. A few days ago, I heard the girl in my grandmother's house say that someone originally came to my grandmother to ask about my fourth brother's matter, but my grandmother was worried and said that it was my grandmother who arranged our marriage. My mother has not been around for so many years. Good face, so I don't want to interfere anymore. These words are true. When I walked in, my mother faced me, which was so cold. But what happened to me? I was born in Dingonbo Mansion. Is it good to find the fourth child? A niece of a prefect, comparing with me? Co-authored, regardless of the facts, only what she chooses is good. The more she spoke, the angrier Chi Xiao became. Look, mother didn't take our daughter with her when she returned to her hometown, but instead took her cousin from her mother's side. Our daughter is not her eldest granddaughter. Su Minghui's eyes turned red as she spoke. Looking back, I want to ask my mother if she thinks I am the eldest son. Su Minghui was secretly happy. Normally, I shouldn't complain when you come back, but my heart. I know, you have been wronged. Husband, look, is mother sick here? She pointed to her head. Don't talk nonsense. Why am I talking nonsense? I'm so stupid and do what I want. Why is there something wrong here? You don't know, this time when she came back from her hometown, she only met her grandmother once, and she went to tell the fourth and fifth children about their marriage. How can there be such a family in the capital? Chi Xiao said nothing. Mother has a lot of property in her hands. Don't let her get confused and it will bring disaster. By then, you will be in vain as the eldest son. You will not get any benefits. Chi Xiao nodded silently. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 137. When Qian returned to the house with heavy steps. Yuan had just arranged her household affairs when her husband arrived. Sir, are you satisfied with your mother? Yuan asked, looking worried. I'm very satisfied. My mother is not picky in the first place, and my husband also told her that although we don't live in a good courtyard in the capital, it is pretty good among my colleagues. He has a higher position than me, and he is also pretty good. There are quite a few people renting houses in Beijing. We, the Wen family, are also extraordinary. Yuan saw what he was holding. What's this? Oh, it's from Wen Qian handed the thin blanket forward. Yuan didn't answer, and just smiled. After all, she is her biological daughter, so she feels sorry for her father. Wen Qian put his things aside and sat down. Yuanqi said, I have something to discuss with you. My sister-in-law has always been in charge of the house. Do you think we should give her some of the housework? After hearing this, Wen Qian calmed down a little after being disturbed by his mother and Wen Yu. It's a blessing to have a good wife at home. It's really difficult for you to take the initiative to bring it up. After all, who is willing to let go of the power once he has it? This matter, let's discuss it with mother later. Didn't mother mention it just now? I didn't mention it. Before my mother came, some of the livelihoods in my hometown were also lost. I don't know if anything else should be done in the capital and who will do it. We will discuss it when we are more stable. Yuan's mind suddenly changed. These days, I heard some things outside, and I feel pretty good. It's just that we don't have much money, so we didn't ask too much. Think about it, do you want me to go find out something? I don't know what my mother thinks yet, so I can ask her, but don't make any promises yet. I definitely don't promise. I'm just looking for some news. Whether or not to do it and how to do it must be decided by my mother. Yuan's tone was a little unhappy. But Wen Qian didn't hear it. After drinking a cup of tea, he told Yuan what he could about what the old lady just said. Of course, as for Song Shang, he didn't know that the Yuan family had ever had suspicions or taken action. I think this cannot be said. Yuanqi listened and turned to the narcissus on the windowsill. The face was expressionless, but the heart was full of hatred. Prince Wu's mansion, it turns out that Wen Yu is so popular. The affairs of Prince Wu's mansion are only mother's guesses and cannot be made accurately. We must speak cautiously when it concerns the Tian family. Wen Qian asked. I understand. Mrs. Yuan paused for a moment. Perhaps the Qi family's marriage was her fault, but maybe there is something inside that we don't know about. That's it, let's leave it as it is. Besides, Wen Yu has a few things to do. I'm worried that if I approach you directly, you won't be able to agree. So we went to find my mother and me. The first one was that she had to do things in the capital, so she had to go out often. Yuan frowned slightly but said nothing. She doesn't need to provide her with chariots, horses, and men. She already has quite a few people under her command and has a place in the capital, so I just want it to be easy to get in and out. Sir, it's not that I refuse to give in, but this is the capital city. The Wen family has a bad reputation in Zhangzhou, but it's not even famous in the capital city. How can such a thing happen when a girl's family spreads all over the city? Wen Qian nodded. Then, mother and you, what do you mean? What I mean is, no matter what happens to her in the future, I can't help her if I don't count on her. So, try to be affected by her as little as possible. I also told her that if anything happens, she will be responsible for it. That's wrong, husband. She is the daughter of the Wen family. No matter how big or small she is, people come directly to your door. Wen Qian was speechless. Husband, do you always feel sorry for her, so you have to make an exception for her? Yuan suddenly became excited. Zijun. Wen Qian wanted to comfort her. That's what happened before. At that time, I took advantage of her, so I let her go. But that matter was your idea, wasn't it? You also made an agreement with me about Wen Yu's matter. Before mother came, we married her into the Zhang family, so we didn't even prepare a house for her. As a result, I was caught off guard. You and Huaner were busy cleaning up, but you just pretended not to know. Mr. Wen, I have known you for so many years, but this is not how you behave? Wen Qian was also a little helpless and allowed Sui Wen to get angry. Now I am in charge of the house. I will not use my status as a mother or my power as a housekeeper to restrict her. But I have to treat everyone equally, right? When Huan visited a friend's house, what did you ask for? How did you end up here with Wen Yu? So she can go out at any time. Husband, She just came in. Will she cause a dispute between us? She secretly resented that her mother-in-law and Mrs. Wu hadn't taken action yet, but they had left this girl to work on the film. Wen Qian whispered, Zijun, my mother told me about Wen Yu's marriage in detail, and it really exceeded everyone's expectations. So, I don't want anything to happen to Rui, I just want to let her go as she wants. If she were to stop her, she would definitely have to find a way, so why bother? What a joke. I have never seen a daughter who refuses to listen to her elders. She can do whatever she wants with just her tenacity. It was a good thing, but instead of quickly getting engaged to the Zhang family, her mother took her around to socialize without causing any trouble. It's strange that she's in trouble. Even now, my mother still doesn't care. Could it be that I've misunderstood her methods after all these years? Zijun, Wen Qian scolded. Yuanqi was stunned for a moment before she realized that she had gone too far. But his face was not up and down, he refused to bow his head, stood up and went out. The curtain clicked, and Wen Qian was also stunned. MRSG went to her parents' house to see Yuan today because Yuan was very sad. The little rabbit may be sick due to eating too much. Her sister-in-law is the head of Huai County and has a straightforward personality. She is afraid that if the little rabbit dies and her daughter sees it, she will send Tuan out and ask the doctor to see a doctor. But how can Yuan be willing? So, County Lord Huai invited MRSG back to be a lobbyist. MRSG went and thought about the idea for a long time, and finally said to Yuan, don't let Tuanchuan's illness pass away and give way to Huangzixi. Yuan then responded and took care of the two little turtles even more carefully. MRSG secretly praised it. Fortunately, Wen Yu also gave a pair of turtles as a gift. This girl is so meticulous. It took me a long time to get home. When I found out that my husband and eldest son were back early, I went to see the old lady first. Then my son left with Mrs. Su, and my husband went to Mingxiuyuan. Her heart was calm. In her room, she took off her jewelry, changed her clothes, and washed herself again. Then I heard someone say from outside, Madam, the general is back. MRSG stood up, and Chi Yuyi came in expressionlessly. General, you've had a hard time on your journey. Her etiquette was spot on. Chi Yuyi sat there in a grand manner. How are things going at home? MRSG talked about how to build houses and roads, donate schools to the tribe, and build ancestral tombs. Then I focused on how to perform rituals for my mother-in-law. It sounded very solemn. Chi Yuyi felt a little guilty and said, these things were originally supposed to be done by me. However, since ancient times, loyalty cannot be fulfilled. It is indeed impossible to spend such a long time repairing my mother's grave. You and I are one and the same, you do this for me, that's fine. But what are the rumors going on outside? MRSG replied calmly, I have been away and back for so long, but I haven't heard any rumors. You have only been back for a while, and you heard it now. Chi Yuyi didn't answer. MRSG then asked, what are those rumors about? This woman. Yesterday, some of the bad guys were so angry that they're hurt, they said they wanted to wait until the bad guys were unlucky and then come back to see them. Thinking about the bad people and bad things that will come out later, I feel uneasy. Next, should you continue writing like this, or should you continue writing like this? Please don't give up or abandon me. Each of you is my treasure. The bad guys will not be cleansed, but they will be complex and full. I also think that many bad people are just bad, not stupid. Taking the Tan family as an example, could she go from being a village girl to where she is now in just a few seconds? She has to jump. Hello dear friends, don't leave. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 138. Chapter 138 completely opposite. MRSG has a good attitude and her voice is not too loud. But the content cannot be compromised at all. Chi Yuyi was very angry. This woman has always been sharp-tongued, and I won't argue with her. I heard that you got married to the fourth and fifth children in your hometown. Yes, Xiaoxi has chosen the niece of Magistrate Zhang. I let Xiaoxi have a look and he likes her very much. That's right, she's the magistrate's niece, Chi Yuyi mocked. She is the daughter of Zhang Zifu's elder brother. That elder brother was born in Huiwen. Over the years, he has taught and educated people, and he has gained fame all over the world. In the future, it is very possible to become a great Confucian. The key is, the Zhang family has a pure family tradition, which is a true. She is kind and filial, her husband and wife are harmonious, and she has no concubines, so I fell in love with her at first sight. These words made it impossible for Chi Yuyi to get out of the dead-end alley. What does she mean? Why are they all pointing at me? Furthermore, Miss Wen, who is destined for Xiao Wu, has an ordinary family. I like this girl. She is generous, intelligent, loyal, and reasonable, has good hands, and is good looking. Oh, there is nothing bad about her. It's settled right away. Xiaoxi will get married after the Chinese New Year, in about half a year. It seems like there is nothing wrong with me as a father here. Chi Yuyi calmly held on. We husband and wife, each performs his or her own duties. Furthermore, General, do you remember the birthdays of Xiaoxi and Xiaowu? Chi Yuyi was embarrassed when he was asked. He only remembered Chi Hua and Xiaomao. MRSG smiled and said, so, you just need to remember that after the New Year and most of half a year later, you have to stay in Beijing. As a father, you have to attend your son's wedding. Am I a father? Am I not just a son? There are so many famous ladies in the capital and you can't choose from them. Why do you have to travel so far? Chi Yuyi is quite good at fighting, but when it comes to family matters, he is really confused. MRSG suppressed her and said that his resistance was indeed not strong. He carries with him the pressure of a killing field, but MRSG does not possess it at all. Sure enough, MRSG said with a smile, how can I say this? It is said that I was a famous lady at the top of the capital. Didn't I catch your eye too? The old lady in the backyard was brought back by my father from thousands of miles away. What is her background? Isn't it bad that she hasn't had a blush with her father in so many years? Chi Yuyi suddenly became angry. Shut up, what are you talking about? How dare you talk about father and mother? Ms. Kui, you are getting more and more shameless. MRSG only smiled and said nothing. I still have to take a look at the marriage. If there is something wrong, I don't care what you decide. It won't work. Chi Yuyi then got angry. General, you are good at platooning and fighting, but you are an outsider in guaranteeing a matchmaker's betrothal. After passing the 3 matchmaking and 6 certificates, Miss Zhang and Miss Wen are now half of the Qi family. The consequences of regretting the marriage are as expensive as Zhenyu, and the home mansion can't afford it easily. I can carry it if I want to. You haven't even become a prince now, MRSG said with a mocking look on her face. Kui Fenying. Aren't you afraid that I will divorce you? Chi Yuyi became angry with embarrassment, and his beautiful eyes widened. Chi Wu is a good man. A small part of him is like him, and the other half is a descendant of one of his ancestors. Don't be afraid. MRSG picked up the tea bowl and took a sip. You can't stop? Chi Yuyi, after all these years, you still haven't understood? If it weren't for Xiao and Xiao Wu, how could the Qi family retain the title of general's wife? Stay with me? I have already taken the initiative to give up my seat to your sweetheart. Chi Yuyi couldn't stand it anymore and had no choice but to slam the door and leave. MRSG sneered and didn't take it seriously at all. After a while, Madam, the uncle is here. Mother Chi Xiao came in and gave a standard salute. MRSG was not as indifferent to him as Chiyi. Her eyes were bright. Xiao, have you been doing well for more than a year? Chi Xiao is accustomed to her mother's expression. Ever since he was sensible, his mother has been like this. This makes him feel a lot of pressure. Why can't mother be as relaxed and happy as grandma? Everything is fine with my son. I planned to get home before you went home, but I was delayed for a few days due to something. I was in a hurry all the way, but when I got home, I said you haven't come back yet. I was worried that things were not going well for you. MRSG was chattering. Chi Xiao sat down and listened silently. In fact, this feeling is not bad. But I don't know why, but what remains in my heart is a bad feeling. Not like at grandma's place. Especially my mother's attitude towards Minghui. She is my daughter-in-law and the mother of my daughter. Thinking of Minghui crying just now, saying that her mother treated her nieces and nephews better than her eldest grandson. Since you feel sorry for me, why can't you love Wu? Besides, they are so cute. MRSG didn't know what Chi Xiao was thinking, so she was telling the story of her hometown in detail. Of course, the attitude is completely opposite to that of her husband. Chi Xiao listened carefully and then said, Mother, before, Minghui told you that she would accompany you back when your son comes back. Listening to what you just said, it doesn't seem that you are in that hurry. Why don't you wait for your son? MRSG would not get angry at Chi Xiao, and would only explain softly, your fifth brother happened to have some things to do over there, and you were not at home. So I went with him. The house and road at home have been repaired. If you can make time, mother will go with you again, which is very convenient. Her attitude made Chi Xiao speechless. Come and see. MRSG stood up. On a table next to her, there was a set of fine iron and soft armor stacked up. Mother found a set of soft armor for you. It was produced by the Bai family in Shaanxi back then. Although it is old, look at the material, it is so thin and yet so tough. It is light and portable. You are running around all year round, so wear it. If you use it, your mother will feel more at ease. Chi Xiao's eyes lit up when he saw it. He knew his stuff and knew that this soft armor was not cheap. The key was that it was hard to find. Mother is thoughtful. This is really a good thing. He picked it up and found it was much lighter and softer than ordinary armor. It's quite hard to put it down. I was moved in my heart, but felt awkward and said, leave it to my fifth brother to wear. He's not going to the battlefield, how can he wear this? If he has a chance in the future, find it for him. There are straps here, and he can wear them whether he is fat or thin. I heard that the Bai family's smelting skills have been lost long ago, so this is really a rare item. It has been carefully cleaned and maintained, so don't blame it. Chi Xiao's voice was sincere, I don't mind my son. Thank you, mother, for thinking about me. You are my son, if you don't care about me, who do you care about? For a time, there was a rare warm scene between mother and son. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 139. Chapter 139 I don't regret it. Mother, the curtain was raised and Su Minghui came in. MRSG's smile faded a little and she responded. Husband, what is this? MRSU saw mother and son standing around here, and the atmosphere was good, so she got up and came over. My mother gave me the soft armor, Chi Xiao replied. Oh, Su Minghui didn't take it seriously, and handed a box to MRSG with both hands. Mother, this is brought back by my husband to honor you. MRSG took it and opened it to see that it was a jade bracelet. The quality of it is not even comparable to the worst among her bracelets. But was this a gift specially given by her son because he knew she liked bracelets? A smile appeared from the bottom of her heart. It's so beautiful. How can you, a grown man, think of this? This is a pair. The husband asked his daughter-in-law to keep one. This one is for my mother. Although it is not comparable to your bracelet, it is the best for my daughter-in-law. Sue's tone couldn't help but turn sour. Mother-in-law's jewelry, hairpins, locks, and rings. Although they are all valuable, they are not as beautiful as the bracelets in her hands. She has worn no fewer than 20 jade ones, green ones, 2-color ones, floating flowers, and ice-like ones. There are also topaz, black jade, purple jade, and white jade. Inlaid with gold wire, carved with ivory, the workmanship is extremely exquisite. There are others that she can't even name. I wear it every day, and I probably won't wear the same one for 3 months. I was so jealous that I tried to say good things, bad things, and make false accusations for a long time, but my mother-in-law just pretended not to understand and didn't even say a word. In the past few years since I entered the family, I have been given a set of facial expressions as a greeting gift and a set when I gave birth to my daughter. Although they are all very good, I don't have any anyway. I also like bracelets. Her husband listened to her complaint and brought 4 bracelets this time. Although I feel happy, when I think of my mother-in-law, it's really incomparable. So she chose the worst one and took it over. Firstly, she planned to disgust her mother-in-law, and secondly, she hoped that it would be a good idea. When MRSG heard Su Minghui's words, she was sarcastic in her heart, who made the Su family's situation decline. If you don't even see your dowry, your younger sister and your future eldest niece won't be able to accompany you. But as soon as she had this thought, she felt sad. There are really people who can easily make you have evil thoughts. Amitba. Su was winking at Chi Xiao. Chi Xiao finally remembered and asked directly, "Mother, I heard that you handed over your family's property to your 4th brother." MRSG put the bracelet gently on the table. "Your grandfather delegated power to my hometown's property, and my mother took over it first. All the expenses for returning home came from here. The account is in my mother's hands, but from beginning to end it was indeed your 4th brother who came forward to do this. Mother, your son is the eldest son. Why don't you consider your son for spending such a large amount of money?" Ruanjia's excitement disappeared, and Chi Xiao's dissatisfaction came back. "You didn't go, didn't you? Besides, even my mother is in temporary custody." Mother Su Minghui interrupted, thinking to herself, "My husband is the eldest son and grandson of the family, he should be the one to handle such a big thing." Madame Chi's tone towards MRSU was cold. "First of all, your father, the eldest son, hasn't even spoken to me yet. Your husband, the eldest grandson, has to lean back." MRSU blushed, but she was fighting for her husband, so she felt confident, and continued, "Mom, I know that you have always looked down on your daughter-in-law's background. This is also your right, and I will not complain. But if this involves the husband and makes him lose his due rights, the wife will feel really sorry. I really don't care about your background," MRSG said lightly. In the past, MRSG only thought in her heart and would never really say it out loud. But now, she doesn't want to endure it anymore. "Mother," Chi Xiao was shocked. Su Minghui was about to fake crying, but when her mother-in-law said this, she was stunned and opened her mouth. "Uncle Ping'an, your father, has been accused by the imperial censor. He is responsible for even trivial matters, and he has done everything in a mess. It's better now. You don't have to do anything from now on. Your brother, the people from the Octagon Casino are here to catch up. I look down on it. What's wrong? This is really not giving you face." Su Minghui's face turned red with embarrassment and tears fell down. "Mother, how does Minghui know about these things? What does it have to do with her?" Chi Xiao spoke for his wife. MRSG looked at her silly son and thought to herself, "She doesn't know?" What does it have to do with her? Then how much money are you left with after all your hard work and suffering? It's just that you want to do it yourself. What do I mean by saying this? With her husband's support, Su Minghui felt confident. My daughter-in-law has no access to what my mother said, so of course I don't know about it. As your daughter-in-law, are you disrespectful to me? Are you not considerate to your husband? Why are you doing this? What about me? She burst into tears. Su Minghui, then you have to pat your conscience and say, what have I done to you? Have I set rules for you since you entered the house? Have you pinched you? Have you stuffed beauties into your room? You took advantage of the housekeeper and kept doing little tricks. Do you think I don't understand? Chi Xiao had never seen such a mother before, and he couldn't keep up with the conversation for a while. Su Minghui still had the temper of a dog, so she scolded her with a stiff neck. My mother didn't use my daughter-in-law to set rules. But when my daughter-in-law served her grandmother, she didn't see my mother. She thought our Chi family didn't have such rules. What she means is, I have served the old lady, but you have not set any rules in front of the old lady. MRSG sneered, Kui Fengying, can afford to set rules for you. Can others afford to set rules for me? Mother, Chi Xiao was frightened to death when he heard this. Mother is really crazy. How can you say something so treasonous? Su Minghui was so happy that she wanted to make a big fuss, so she knelt on the ground and said, it's my daughter-in-law's fault. From now on, my daughter-in-law will come to her mother's house every day to set the rules. Chi Xiao was so angry that he also knelt down. If the mother feels that her son has not done well, she can punish her directly. There is no need to bring Minghui with her. The friendship between mother and son just disappeared, and Chi Fu trembling with popularity. But he couldn't say anything anymore. Madam, I have your letter, Aunt Kui came in. Ordinarily, if the master is still so nervous while talking in the house, Grandma Kui should not enter the house. However, the uncle is the wife's weakness. Those few have been keeping Madam in check for so many years. This time the lady spent a lot of effort and money to find the soft armor. In the end, the uncle's soft knife was not soft, he stabbed the wife himself. It's really not worth it for my wife. Chi Xiao turned his face and looked at Aunt Kui, becoming angry with embarrassment. MRSG was more frustrated than ever. Ignoring the two people kneeling on the ground, they accepted the letter numbly. A few beautiful small characters caught my eye. I opened it and took a look. When you is here. The letter was not long, but the tone was calm and normal, as if the two people had been friends for many years. It says she arrived and where she stayed. The subordinates bought a house in the capital and marked the location. He also said that after she settles down, she can go out. She said, she missed herself and Yuan very much and wanted to meet as soon as possible. Like a spring breeze, it blows away the depression and coldness in my heart. Suddenly, MRSG figured it out. Perhaps, Chi Xiao and I have a close relationship as mother and son, let's admit it. I still have a mistress, and a daughter-in-law whom I have chosen, I can't waste my life anymore. So he looked at Su Minghui and said, Ms. Su, I know what you are thinking. I'm telling you now, no, from now on, we can each do our own thing and be well. Don't worry, I won't do anything in front of anyone. I won't say anything to you. Go out, I have a few words to say to Chi Xiao. MRSU cried and refused to leave. Come here, get her out. MRSG's face was as cold as ice. Chi Xiao wanted to stop her, but seeing her mother's face, she didn't dare. Chi Xiao, I am useless as a mother. After MRSU went out, MRSG looked at Chi Xiao intently, but the light that had always been in her eyes was gone. In the beginning, we never fought with each other. Mother and son separated from that time, and we have never been together again. This is my fault. So, Mother has something to do for you. What do you want mother to do for you? What is she doing? She doesn't want me anymore. Chi Xiao was very frightened. For so many years, his mother has been chasing him, enduring his neglect and making things difficult for him. Sometimes, even though everything is going well, he still wants to do something. He is very annoyed and does not want his mother to disturb him. But now, it seems like I am about to lose it, but I feel empty and scared. No. No, I'm not afraid. I was raised by my grandmother. Every time I got sick, my grandmother was there to take care of me. Where was she at that time? Socializing with ladies. Going to have tea? Going to the theater? To spend money? My heart became cold. Mother, you don't have to be like this. Whatever your son wants, he will earn it himself. My son doesn't want anything you have. Yeah. That's all. MRSG didn't force it. Chi Xiao's head was dizzy. Chi Xiao, let me ask you one more question. If I say that when I was in my hometown, the man in the backyard once harmed Yuan, would you believe it? Mother, are you really crazy? Chi Xiao blurted out. He suddenly remembered what his wife said. You don't believe it? You really don't believe it, you know? If she does it, you won't be able to see your mother. MRSG sat there, her back slumped, she was so sad. Chi Xiao felt like he was about to suffocate. He didn't want his mother to be like this, but he didn't know what to do, so he knelt there motionless. Just pretend I haven't said anything about this. I'm still investigating, so shut your mouth. If it leaks out from you, don't blame me for ignoring the love between mother and child. Get out, MRSG said coldly. Chi Xiao was ashamed, annoyed, and panicked. He stood up in a daze and walked out with a somewhat frivolous pace. Wait a minute, MRSG shouted. Chi Xiao quickly turned around. The truth will eventually become clear one day. I hope you won't regret it when the time comes. I don't regret it, Chi Xiao vented his anger. It's you who don't want me all the time. You only love the fifth child, and even the fourth child who is a concubine is better than me. Is it because you hate your grandmother and hate her for giving Aunt Ziyun to your father, so you don't want your own son? Okay. Chi Wu, it's your son, not me. He finished shouting with tears in his eyes and strode away. End of this chapter. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 140. When Yu expressed his needs to the old lady and Wen Qian, and then returned to the house. Several girls are still packing things there, but Laba is not here. When Yu sat down, drank tea and watched them work. King He wears a tight-fitting jacket with a slender waist, and works lightly and quickly. Hong Xin behaves very down-to-earth and is no longer as flirtatious as she used to be. However, when she arrived, she still took down the medicine bag from the peony pavilion and put it away. Will she take action? When will it be? How can we get through her and beat Yuanqi hard? Hong Xin was working normally, but when she turned around, she saw that her girl was looking at her faintly. The look in her eyes made her startled. Girl? Is something wrong? Well, grind the ink, I still need to write a letter. Yes, Hong Xing's heart was shaking a little. She hasn't met Aunt Su yet, so Aunt Su might be very angry about the marriage that the girl has arranged. But, what can I do? I'm just a girl. Laba climbed up the wall and went out. First I went to deliver a letter to the Chi family, and then rushed to my hometown. The boss who assigned her the job, Shi Shiwu, happened to be there. He looked her up and down. Oh, look at her complexion, so pink and moist. The little bun's face is almost turning into a big bun, and the materials of the clothes are very nice. Is she on a mission? Unhappy, he asked in a deep voice, didn't you arrive yesterday? Why didn't you come yesterday? Labo felt that the boss' question was unreasonable and stared. "Boss, what do you think I am doing? Do you know the girl's personal maid? Did she just come out casually? Today, the girl asked me to come out to deliver the message." "Woolen cloth." 15 said coldly, "Have you forgotten the rules or how to get a stick after you have been out for a few months?" This old man is still as cruel as ever. Laba shrank his neck and did not dare to say any more. "Come over to me in a moment and answer honestly, be concise and to the point, no nonsense. If you cause trouble for me again, I'll really beat you to death this time." Laba didn't dare to speak and only nodded. Then 15 took her out and got into the carriage. The carriage was sealed and nothing could be seen. We walked for a long time and finally entered a courtyard directly. 15 went down first, and after a while, he came back and called Laba, "Come down. Do you remember what I just said?" Laba nodded quickly. 15 took her for a while and came to a courtyard. Climb 3 steps and enter a large room. Laba is good at looking around with the corner of his eyes. "Wow, it's so big and majestic." She was surprised when she saw 15's footsteps paused and his breath became violent. It's over," he discovered it again. "Hurry up and just look at your toes." "Master, Laba is back." Laba knelt down honestly and said, "Master, this subordinate is back." "Well," the voice said lazily, "get up and talk about it. What's going on with this girl from the Wen family?" Sitting there shapelessly with his feet on the table was the grandson. So Laba told Taejun everything about his arrival in Zhangzhou. She didn't dare to look up, so when she mentioned how beautiful Wenyu was, how capable and powerful she was, I couldn't help but see the stinky face of my master. The grandson didn't speak either, so she had no choice but to continue talking. When she said that Wenyu was almost killed on the boat, Taishun was at a loss for thought. "You just dealt with the person without checking who it was," the voice was very cold. Laba was so frightened that she broke into a cold sweat. Of course she couldn't say that she didn't want to do anything because she was too sleepy. This subordinate is worried, if someone designs this, he will definitely stay outside, wait for any movement in the house, and rush in to catch the rapist. By then, no matter what, Miss Wen's reputation will be over. It's great to have a good reputation. Taejun glared at her fiercely. "Can't do anything. Based on your analysis, who did it? There are a lot of people at the pier. Maybe someone saw the girl's good looks and wanted to do something dirty. Maybe she was colluding with the ship's owners and outsiders. I can't say exactly. The ship that spent the night at the pier that day was the Prince of Wu." The master narrowed his eyes again. "There is another fleet that goes to Beijing to get married. There are no miscellaneous ships. According to the analysis of my subordinates, it should not be these two families. Moreover, it is also possible that the second wife of the Wen family did it. The second wife of the Wen family wanted young Master Qi to marry her daughter, so I hate Miss Wen. Bah, what the hell, let's change the Wen family's surname to Lei. The whole family is a toad, they're all crazy, this guy just thought he could marry Xiao." He cursed very dissatisfiedly, but then he thought, "Hey, I am also dizzy, what are you talking about with a little guard? Miss Wen is very powerful." The second wife wanted to find trouble with her, but the girl thought of a way to make the second wife suffer and even get a beating. "I just said she was cunning, what else?" He had not been in Labo for a long time and had not experienced much, so he treated Wenyu as his younger brother and brought him to the capital. "What, fool, god brother, please tell me carefully." When she went to Laba, Lu Lanzhou had already arrived, so she just listened to Yan Zhu's excited description of how to beat the monk. The master was silent for a while after hearing this. What else is there? There was nothing more to say about Laba, so Yan Zhu cooked the food in different ways every day, saying how delicious it was, and she became fat. And Master Ching is so good at making clothes that she even learns needlework from him. And why did Miss Wen go to Cai Luan Pavilion and buy all the good furs there at a low price? The gang of noodles in Cai Luan Pavilion were so happy. Finally, Wen Yu begged the Song family's cousin and rescued Master Ching's nephew. Then, Laba said seriously, that Mr. Yu Bai. He is the most famous young man. Is there such a thing? Taejun's eyes sparkled. Isn't that true? I heard that he is a master of chess and zither. If you want to see him or spend money, it depends on his mood. Laba gestured exaggeratedly as if he were playing the zither. At 15, I saw that this girl had let go again. Laba stared at her repeatedly, but he didn't realize it. Then, his master turned to himself and said, "Check this, Mr. Yu Bai. Aren't we busy enough? Why do you check everything? This is boring." At the Wen family's dinner, Yuan calmed down and went to the old lady's living room. Wen Feng was describing to the old lady what he had seen throughout the day. In celebration of the Chinese New Year and long live the 1,000 years, the streets are decorated with lights and colorful decorations, and everything is full of celebration. I also looked outside several famous houses. I've been wandering around all day today, and my son is exhausted, but he hasn't even been around half of the time. The children at home were also happy to hear it and told the old lady that they wanted to go out on the street. The old lady responded happily. "When we get some rest, we'll go for a walk." Mrsun smiled and said, "Mom, I received a few greeting cards from my husband's colleagues and my daughter-in-law's friends. They all said that they would come and see you after you rest. I don't have anything to do, and I don't need to take a break. You can take care of these things, just tell me in advance. The Chinese New Year is almost here, and it's still the end of the long life. You know better than me how it's appropriate." "Yes, wife, please make arrangements." Wu looked at it and felt guilty. She couldn't compare to Yuan in this area. Looking at the happy husband, he is in high spirits, he is so beautiful. But why can't he be like the big brother?